Well, I said goodbye to my old planer and I replaced it with this one. We'll talk about what's great about this machine, what could use improvement, and we'll talk about some different features of the planer and how to use it.
We'll skip forward a bit with the unboxing because the included pieces are pretty basic. Set the pieces aside to make sure that they're all there, and then whatever you do, remember this bag is not a toy. It's recommended that you use Team Lift to move the planer, but I just started working out tomorrow, so check your planer and parts for any defects or damage caused by shipping. Several people on reviews had indicated it was delivered by plane and thrown from the cockpit. Set your owner's manual aside because you're going to want to watch this video again. Included in this kit are the in-feed and out-feed extensions, the dust port, extra blades, and this little steering wheel. Makes me think of a good Sunday afternoon drive. Wasn't that fun? Alright, now back to getting sweaty. Take the included wrench and loosen this screw that was already loose. Line up the notch on the inside of your wheel thingy and replace the screw, only tighter than it was. Give the wheel a spin all the way up and all the way back down to make sure the screws aren't binding. On the back side of the machine, you'll find a dust ejection port. There's a lock button on the chip ejection chute that lines up to the dust port. Slide the notches in the dust port over the pins on the dust ejection chute until it clicks in place. Then admire yourself in the mirror finish of the planer bed. To attach the in-feed and out-feed extensions, press the pins in on either side of the planer bed and line up with the stop pin underneath. Okay, one thing that doesn't make sense to me is the location of this power cord. When the out-feed extension is raised, the power cord interferes with it, and even when the planer is raised almost to its full height, the cord is still in the way. It would have made for a much better design if they moved the cord to the side of the machine so it didn't interfere with the rear extension. Also, the in-feed extension rests perfectly against the planer when folded up. The bed extends about 3.5 inches in the front and only about 1.25 inches in the back, which means the outfeed can't rest against the planer. I don't understand why they wouldn't have extended the rear side of the bed another 2 inches, so the outfeed extension could rest against the planer. Ugh, that's so frustrating. Once the machine is assembled, you should open it up and have a look under the hood. Once you're done admiring it, then you can point at a bunch of things. Remove the 3 wing nuts that seal the dust shroud over the cutter head. Rotate the dust shroud up to the open position and slide left so it disengages. And don't stick your fingers in like this. Get a pair of your favorite gloves and count to 15. Now you're ready to check the screws to ensure that they're all secured before turning on the machine. These are the same screws that you'll loosen to rotate or replace your planer blades. You can use the magnet on the back side of the wrench to remove the blades. While you have the hood open, make sure to check the oil for good measure and replace the dipstick back in your truck. Replace the dust shroud and make sure the cutter head lock lever is pressed in. What's that, you ask? Well, we'll get to that in a minute. This cross-looking thing is a safety feature to make sure that the top of the planer is on. Make sure not to break the plastic piece off on the underside of the top, and once it's secured in place, use the T-wrench to secure the screws. Then we want to make sure that the extensions are level to the planer bed to reduce snipe. You'll need to use a 4mm hex wrench to loosen the screws on the sides of the extension wings. I find it helpful to use magnetic level when doing this to allow the wings to snap into level position. Then tighten the screws and run a test piece over the surface to make sure it doesn't snag. I couldn't find my paste wax, so I sprayed the wings on the planer bed with lubricant. This will allow for a smooth transition as the wood travels through the planer. This turret stop gives you the ability to control the final depth position for your material. Make sure to get familiar with all these features before turning on your machine. On the front of the machine is a speed selector and material removal gauge. Under the front side is the material removal bar, which presses on the wood and corresponding height is reflected on the gauge. Now plug in the machine and turn it on. Oh, no, wait, no, turn it off. Okay, let's rewind. Remember when I mentioned the cutter head lock leveler? Well, it's important to make sure that it's pressed in completely or you'll have to change into your brown pants. Okay, now that we have that figured out. Much better. I added a connection to the desk port to attach my 4-inch quick connect to the desk port. The existing desk connection is too loose for my 4-inch quick connect, so I'll replace this later with a better setup and incorporate something into a more permanent setup.
Thanks for watching. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you can find out when I post new videos.